This video is brought to you by FM Custom Kits. Do you need custom kits for your Football Manager save? Then contact FM Custom Kits on Instagram or Twitter. This guy can make you custom kits for your Football Manager save. They can be in 2D or 3D for a real team such as Liverpool or a fake team such as AG Cousins. And don't forget to use discount code #GibbsyKits to get 10% off your order. Right guys, welcome back to another video, and today we've got a different one. It's something that it's getting a bit more publicity at the minute, but still not as much as it probably should be. So lads, today we're going to be talking about what's going on at Wigan Athletic. So let's start with this timeline. So David Whelan, who I believe is a long-time owner of Wigan Athletic, he decides to sell the club in 2018 to this group called IEC. Now, this is fine. This is all good. This happens a lot in football these days. You don't actually have companies or corporations who just own football clubs. You'll have corporations owned by people who own football clubs, so that's all good. Now, this company IEC is owned by a man called Stanley Choi. Now, Choi is a professional poker player. He's a professional gambler. Now, Choi plays pretty high-stakes stuff, and it's a pretty dodgy underground kind of world. Now, there's nothing too bad about this, but let's move to June 4th. IEC, which is, let's call them Company 1, they sell the club to Company 2, NLF. Now, Stanley Choi is actually the owner of both of these companies. Quite suspicious, isn't it? So, Stanley Choi's just decided he wants to sell the club. Doesn't seem to be too much wrong with that. But he has sold it from Company 1 that he owns to Company 2, which he also owns. So how does this work out? What's the point in this? He's essentially just sold the club to himself. But what's even weirder is Company number 2 was actually only set up in, I believe it was January of 2020. So where the heck has this company got the money from already to be able to buy the club from the first company that this man owns? Well, here we can see that Company 2 has actually taken out a loan from Company 1 to be able to buy the club from them. But, like, what is the point in this? They've basically taken out a loan. They're like, we're going to pay you back. But essentially they've paid them back by buying the club off them. Getting pretty dodgy, this stuff now. But if we now skip to June 24th, you can see that this man, Oh Young, has become the new owner of Wigan Athletic. So, Choi no longer is the majority owner of both of these companies. Now, what's really weird about this is that literally soon after NLF, this new company, have just taken over Wigan. Wigan immediately go into administration, which basically means that the owner of the club, the company, doesn't have the assets, the money needed to be able to successfully run a football club or run a football club in general. Now, that's very sketchy, because how the heck do you pass the fit and proper test here? Like, what has happened? So, Wigan are actually facing a 12-point deduction for this, and it's kind of sketchy because you've just bought a football club, you've just passed your fit and proper test. How, a week after buying the club, is it already going into administration and you have the administrators in trying to deal with the money and the funds for you?
All sorts of rumours. There's rumours that there's a bet in the Philippines and I'm being relegated because the previous owners got gambling interests in the...
Now, that video that you've just seen there, that is Richard Parry, who is one of the chief directors of the EFL. Now, this guy is, you know, one of the top dogs, and he's stating that he knows something or has heard something about a bet apparently being placed in the Philippines on Wigan getting relegated. Kind of weird. I mean, one of the things you have to question, no offence to Wigan, but who in the Philippines cares? I mean, how does anyone in the Philippines know who Wigan actually are? Like, it's not even, they're a championship club. I reckon if you even went to the Philippines and asked if they knew who West Ham are, they wouldn't know. No offense to West Ham fans, but you're looking at your Liverpools, your Man Uniteds, your Real Madrids, your Barcelonas. You can understand bets being placed on those teams, but you're not quite that global yet, Wigan. You know what I mean, like.
Now, the EFL later released an official statement confirming that this was actually the voice of Richard or Rick Parry. Now, obviously, our main location here appears to be the Philippines.
So, a bet's been placed in one of the casinos at the Philippines that Wigan are going to get relegated. Now, what if a guy linked with Wigan maybe owned some casinos in the Philippines? Oh, wait, he does.
So, remember Stanley Choi from earlier? He owns quite a few casinos in the Philippines.
Now, let's just hypothetically say that Oh Young and Stanley Choi, let's just say they're mates, they've borrowed some money from each other, they've lent each other some money because they know they're gonna be able to pay it back. So why is Choi using two companies that he already owns, both of them? It's a bit dodgy. Well, when he goes to EFL and says, hey, yeah, I wanna, move the club from one company that I own to my other company, the EFL is just going to be like, yeah, well, you've already passed your fit and proper test, so we'll just put this one through a little bit quicker than normal before the end of the season so Wigan can get relegated.
Now, it's worth noting that these are the current standings in the EFL Championship table, so the 12-point deduction would actually put Wigan into the relegation zone on goal difference, and this is after their 8-0 thumping over Hull the other night there.
Now, when a club does get into this state, the board of directors have to actually vote if they want the club to go into administration or not.
So, Oh Young brings in two completely new directors. They've never been directors at the club before. They've never been directors in their lives. Now, apparently, one of the guys on the screen has played football in like Hong Kong or the Philippines or something. So, I guess that's kind of a link. But basically, all of them vote for the club to go into administration.
So now maybe we have kind of a theory. These two guys are close with O Young. They've come in, they've voted in favour of the club going into administration because maybe they've placed the bet, they're part of this bet. So then if Wigan go down, these guys are just going to earn mad amounts of money from that bet.
So Stanley Choi actually used to own, I think it was another club back in the day, and some dodgy stuff happened there. You'll see in this next photo here now, some dodgy dealings going on basically. I don't know enough to get properly into it, and I'm not going to. Basically, he should have gone bankrupt, so there's no way on earth he should have even passed the fit and proper test to take over Wigan with his first company in the first place. And if that wasn't bad enough, Oh Young, who went on to buy the company, the second company, which essentially made him take over the club, he was declared bankrupt in 2004. Like, that is one of the key reasons that you're not allowed to own a football club. And now, the websites for both of these companies have now been closed down. That definitely seems a bit dodgy, and it's definitely something you would do if you were trying to hide something. On top of all this, Wigan's sponsor, if you haven't noticed, is an Asian betting company called KB88. And believe it or not, this company are from, you guessed it, the Philippines. So they're actually licensed in the Isle of Man, but that's a small island, and there is a link here. There is a link because Choi has a betting commission in the Isle of Man. Who would have guessed? Now, the one man we haven't been talking about lately is Oh Young, and that's because no one really knows much about him, and there currently are no links between him and Choi. Choi has come out and said this, but of course he's going to say that. But there's no proven links, because when that happens, let's face it, it's a wrap.
Now, there is a discussion whether the 12-point deduction will actually take place, given the circumstances that, the rumours that are flying around right now.
And I, for one, hope they stay up, even if they get the points deduction, and they're definitely going about it the right way. I mean, they tanked Hull 8-0 the other night. Like, fam, it was 7-0 at half time. But generally, the club are doing everything they can to work through this time and to be positive, and I generally wish them the best of luck, and I hope that they do stay up through all this.
So, boys, that's what's going on at Wigan. I just thought I'd make a video about it. It has been absolutely crazy. There's a link in the description to like a fundraiser page to help Wigan get out of this mess, and also I have to give a shout out to official FNG. He definitely won't see this, he's too big, but I've got a lot of my research from his recent video. The link to that video will be in the description too, so make sure to go and check it out. But thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time, guys. Cheers.